Welcome back. We are back. Perks Recap Podcast. With me, of course, is Al Hill. Al has joined me like he did all last year. This is our week one preview. Al, are you ready?
Ready, my man. We're back at it. Week one. Let's go.
Yes. And just a quick reminder, next week we'll be back with the two podcasts. We will review week one, and then on a separate podcast, we will preview week two. That's how we did it all last year. We'll do the same thing this year.
Absolutely, because we hold ourselves accountable, unlike most of the pros.
Right. Okay. Well, game one, just a couple nights away, two sleeps away. Um, Kansas City at home against Baltimore, rematch of the AFC Championship game. A lot of people predict there'll be another. They will meet again in the AFC Championship game. But what do you think for this one on opening night?
All right, man. What? And by the way, what an opening night. I mean, what a great game to give us to start the season.
Yeah.
You know, I think we talked on our preview show. I think I'm a little higher on the Ravens this year than you, even though we both like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't like them enough to pick them against the Chiefs on the road. I'm going Chiefs 27-23.
All right. Yeah, the Chiefs got bit last year by Detroit. I don't think they're going to let that happen this year. So I'm going 24-20 in a closer one. Kansas City with the win.
Right on, right on. Oh, and hey, by the way, one important note about this game that was kind of up in the air for months is that Rashee Rice is not going to be suspended before the season starts, which looked like a lock about 3 months ago.
Right. Rasheed Rice is playing and projected to play all season, no problems.
Yeah, which takes their receiving core from oh boy, better hope the rookie's good to pretty good. You know what I mean? So
Well, they also signed Marquise Brown. I think that's a huge signing.
it is, but he's hurt. You know what I mean? He's not. I
Right.
don't think.
And I know he's always hurt, but when he plays, I think that receiving core is decent.
I agree, but that receiving core, imagine if Rasheed Rice was suspended, the best receiver on that receiving core would be the rookie from Texas right now.
Worthy. That's true. That's true.
You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying? So that's why I said that. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the Brown signing and Rice not being suspended. Boom. I mean, I complained about the receivers all year last year. I don't think you're going to hear me do that quite nearly as much this year because I think Worthy's a player too, by the way.
Yes. All right. Well, the second game is on Friday. We got a Friday game for the first time, and I'm willing to bet this is going to be every year now moving forward.
Yeah.
Um, your team, the Eagles, at home against Green Bay. It's your team, so go.
Ugh. First of all, let me just say how disgusted I am that this is a home game for the Eagles. Um, and I don't know if you've read because it's my team, so I'm seeing all the local stuff about all the and there's Packers included in this too that are just pissed that they are playing in Brazil. The
Well,
NFL,
did you hear about the green in the stadium?
yeah, because it's like gang stuff in Brazil, and and they've been told don't walk around town with your cell phone out, like you know what I mean, like. Players aren't taking their families. People are like AJ Brown's like, I'm not leaving the hotel room other than the game. You know what I mean? Like this is
Yeah,
crazy.
Philadelphia is adhering to the green rule, though. They're wearing their black and white uniforms, but Green Bay is wearing green.
Which is very surprising to me, and I'm glad it's not the Eagles. If somebody's going to get the wrath of a country whose national sport is jujitsu, I don't want it to be my team.
Right.
So anyway, that being said, this is a tough way to start the season here, but I'm going Birds, and I 30-21. I still don't know what the Packers are after last year.
Wow. Right off the bat, I have the Eagles 30-21.
Oh, you got to be kidding me, Craig! I didn't know what that wow was. That's amazing, unbelievable.
All right. Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts on it.
Okay, yeah. So this is huge. This is the Packers are a fascinating team because it's funny. I re-listened to week 11 and 12 from us last year before this week, kind of get my brain back in the mode, and we were ripping Jordan Love through week 11. Week 12 was the first week when he finally busted out.
Yep.
So it's funny because I think of him having a really good year last year now, but it was week 12 through 18. The week 1 through 12 was not good at all. So I don't know what he is. I don't know what the Packers are exactly. And the Eagles have professional coaches and coordinators again, so I'm excited about this possibility of starting well this year.
All right. Well, I have the Eagles. I picked them, but I have to see it. I know Eagles fans are high on them, and a lot of people. I have major doubts about this Eagles team, big time. I need to see them get their defense straight. Their pass defense was the worst in the league the last 10 weeks of the season last year. I need to see that improve. I need to see their defense in general improve because their defense was just absolutely hot trash when they collapsed. It was terrible. I'm not as concerned with the offense. I do think the addition of Saquon, of course, and I do think Hertz will rebound to at least a degree and be respectable. But I have major problems with their defense. And I'll tell you right now, we do an upset pick every single week. And even though I picked the Eagles, my upset pick is the Packers.
Aha. Okay. Okay. Right on. Right on. Um, yeah. I mean, listen. It's hard to. I can't dispute that. I mean,
And
everybody.
by the way, I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but I do think their defense, has a pretty good chance to rebound. I think they probably will be pretty good. But I just want to see it. I want to see them play good defense for a few weeks before I get really fully back on board.
Well, and after that collapse last year, that's absolutely fair. I mean, I think all the Eagles fans are kind of thinking the same thing too. Frankly, I mean, you know, they they couldn't have had a better offseason. They addressed every issue they have. So especially on the defense. I mean, they upgraded that secondary. James Bradbury, who 2 years ago was a borderline Pro Bowler. Last year stunk, but a lot of
Yep.
Eagles stunk in that messed up year. So who knows if it was him or the situation. But that guy is now a backup safety. That's how deep this secondary got in the offseason. He was a starting cornerback for 3 years.
Yeah.
So they did what they could here. You know what I mean? Now let's see if Fangio can bring it all together. He's a professional defensive coordinator that has legitimate credentials. I love everything I'm hearing about Kellen Moore in the offense. So we'll see, man. We'll see how quickly it comes together and if it was the right moves.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I said, I just want to see it a little bit.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
fair.
still have, and I do still have them winning the game anyway. It's the upset pick, but I have Philly as my official pick.
Right on, right on, and all that's fair for sure, 100%.
Okay. The next game I have on the list here is New England at Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I'll go first on this one. I just think I think Cincinnati is just going to crush them. I am big on Cincinnati this year. I am huge on Joe Burrow. Yeah, an MVP is a possibility for him in my eyes. Cincinnati could go a long way, in my opinion, as well. This is their revenge tour. And I think this is an easy, tidy 27-10 win for Cincinnati because New England is not even worth talking about. They're contention for worst in the league and probably the leader in the clubhouse for that.
I agree with everything you said. They are a mess in New England. I don't know what Gerard Mayo is going to be as a coach. I'm half rooting for him a little bit because he's an ex-player, but not so much because he's a New England ex-player. Um,
Right,
and,
right, right, right.
um, but yeah, they're going to be a mess. They're starting Jacoby Brissett, which I don't think it matters, frankly, who starts between him and Drake May. I would do the same thing they're doing and save the beating that Brissett's going to take for him in the early season until they finally pull the trigger. And it's funny because not exactly the same this time, but I have the Bengals 30-10.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. And this is good for them, assuming they can handle New England. To have an easy cupcake at the beginning, because as the last couple of years they stumble out of the gate historically. They
Oh,
just
we
seem to
talked about that a
always,
lot last year. Absolutely,
yeah, they always start
absolutely.
out slow.
That's a great call. And yes, yeah, that was definitely a factor last year. Burrow was coming off a major injury last year, so hopefully they can avoid that this time since he's healthy.
Okay. All right. Next game I have is Minnesota at the New York Giants.
Oh, you saved the best one for now. You want me to go on that one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So certainly in competition for worst game of the week right here. But since we're NFC's guys, it's intriguing.
Yep.
This was one of the tougher games for me to call this week. There were maybe three or four that were tough on paper anyway, and probably the ones I thought were easier, the ones I'll get wrong. But um, I was surprised looking at all the write ups to this game that the Vikings were a favorite.
Yeah,
Um,
they're favored, but I think it's only by like one or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's like 1.5, depending where you look. But even that surprised me, given the state of where they're at. The last season and everything involved. I know the Giants aren't very good, but the Vikings aren't either. So
right. And
um,
Sam Darnold is he might be worse than Daniel Jones, but either way,
it's yeah, it's a it would
he's
be
in
a
that conversation.
it would be a solid competition for who's worse. It would be. so um, so yeah, I'm going Giants. I'm taking the home team in a game of two teams I don't trust at all. So I'm going
Right.
Giants 17-16.
Come on.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
No, 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 no. It's not exact, but wow. I had the Giants, and I just put a weird score. I had them going 18-16.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that is funny, man. Unbelievable.
I tell you, the Giants, their schedule's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. They should be able to win a few games this year if everybody's healthy and their defense plays as good as I think they can play. Their defense is actually pretty solid. I mean, with the addition of Burns
Yeah.
and Thibodeau is a player, Dexter Lawrence, of course.
Yep.
It's a pretty decent defense, to be honest.
Yeah, their secondary is pretty suspect, but
Right, but they're front seven.
their defensive line especially is back to what it was when they were winning championships almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty
it's
good.
I mean they have a lot of holes elsewhere, but it's a championship caliber defensive line. I will say that, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready to move on to Atlanta at home against Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Um, do we? So I got to think Kirk Cousins is going to be good for this team. Everybody's got them winning the division. I do as well. Um, and I'm down on Pittsburgh this year. I was down on them last year, and I was wrong. I do think I'm going to be right one of these years, and I think this is the year that it kind of falls apart for them a little bit. And I'm going to go Atlanta, partially because they're at home more than anything. I'm going to go Atlanta 23-14.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay. So yeah, I'm a little higher on the Steelers this year, but again, it's I don't have them taking on the world. I just have them with a couple more wins, so it's not like we're that far off. Um, I think they might be better than last year and have a worse record. Um,
That's
somehow,
possible. That's
yeah,
possible. Definitely happens sometimes.
yeah, we were mystified in the last year's episode I was listening to. We were mystified when the Steelers were 6-3 last year.
Yeah, we just couldn't understand it.
And it still is mystifying looking back at it, frankly. But as much as I say all that, I still think Falcons at home. It's a relatively easy pick here, and it's pretty close to you again. I'm going 23-17 Falcons.
That's fantastic. All right. We haven't gonna come across your upset yet, right?
Correct.
Okay, when we get there, you could just say it during the review of the actual game, like I did.
You got it, man.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, let's go. Arizona at Buffalo. I believe another easy one. Although, maybe not as easy now that I think about it more, because people are actually pretty high on Arizona to return to some form of respectability at least. And people, especially, I did a lot of fantasy football research recently for my drafts and stuff,
Hmm.
and I was surprised at how high and how highly thought of Kyler Murray was. People are back on board with him big time, especially with Harrison there, and they're on board for their offense. They think they're going to be a good team, a good offensive team, and a solid defensive team as well. And then Buffalo, it's kind of a crapshoot with Buffalo. I don't. They lost so much, um, but people are still buying into them getting 10, 11 wins and still winning the division in some cases. And I kind of have to see it. It's kind of like the Eagles would be. I want to see what this team is and who they're going to be throwing to, and what it's going to look like for them. And I could see it falling apart for them as well. To be honest, I could see everything going wrong and them being like, 8-9 or 7-10 or something like that. It could go that bad in my opinion, but it could also go the opposite and they'll be fine because Josh Allen's that good. Either way, they're at home. Therefore, I'm going Buffalo 20-13.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Because I agree with pretty much everything you said. Really good stuff. The other thing I'll add about the Cardinals is they were starting in week 10, I believe it was last year. They were one of the two or three most efficient run teams in football, which surprised the hell out of me to hear that stat.
Yeah,
And James Conner just keeps on trucking, man. And I'll tell you what, too, with the Bills. I don't know what receiver on that team is going to catch more than 50 passes this year.
I think their tight end's going to lead them in
Well,
receiving.
that's where I was heading and that's why I said wide receiver because I if you didn't get Dalton Kincaid in your fantasy draft, you're going to wish you did around week 2 or 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was on board with him definitely. I didn't get him. I I'm in a keeper league and I already had Kelsey, so I
Oh well,
just kept
that's
him.
yeah. Well, you're not. Yeah, that's one of maybe two guys I would want over Kincaid. Him and the guy from Detroit who I'm blanking on right now.
Laporta.
Thank you. Yes.
Actually, you know what? Arizona's tight end, McBride, right? Is he on Arizona, McBride?
Yes, yes,
He
absolutely.
was like the next on the list.
Yeah, I
He
would. Yeah,
was
and I would.
he's really high up there.
He would be four after those other three guys we just mentioned to me. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm with you there, 100%. Um, which he kind of came out of nowhere to me and last year. So and that was cool to see. So I'm curious. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say too before I forget about the Cards is Kyler Murray without Cliff Kingsbury. This is going to be really interesting to see. He toiled in, and I am bullish on Cliff Kingsbury being not good. We'll find out this year with him in Washington how well he does as an offensive coordinator. But I'll tell you what, I did not like what I saw from that offensive. They didn't protect Murray at all, which is we'll see if he can stay more healthy now that Kingsbury's out of there. There was a stat that what's it called when somebody comes free, an unblocked blitzer. He faced more
Oh,
unblocked blitzes than any quarterback in the NFL, and it wasn't even close during that time.
wow.
So yeah, it's I can't wait to see him with a full year, legitimate offense, no trickery, no five wide Steve Spurrier crap, and yeah, I can't wait. This is my upset pick.
Okay, so what's your actual pick?
Bills 21-24, Cards in the upset pick.
24-21, and then Arizona's the upset pick. I could see it. Like I want to see what this Buffalo team looks like, and I there's a scenario in my head at least that it goes bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs this year. I mean, I
Right,
picked them,
but
but it
but
was based almost entirely on how great Josh Allen is and not on much else.
right, and but I will also say I think also in my head it's 50-50 because if it could go bad, but it could go pretty well, and they can still win 10-11 games.
Absolutely, which is
Wouldn't
why
be
I put them in the
surprised either way.
playoffs.
Wouldn't be surprised either
So
way.
they've been good enough the last few years to give them a little credit. They took a lot of losses in the offseason, so they're it's just a little dicey there. Their receiving core isn't awe inspiring. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I can't, and that's why again, I'm so high on their tight end, but it's going to be fascinating. I'm with you. There's holes in that roster, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out.
Yep. Yep. All right. Next game I have is Tennessee at Chicago. If you want to go first, go ahead.
Okay, so interesting game against two teams that may or may not be heading in different directions. I don't know, but this was relatively easy to pick because the Bears are home. But neutral site, this would have been a tougher pick for me. But I'm going Bears 28-16. I think I can't wait to see Caleb Williams debut. I can't wait to see the Bears with A+ receiving core. I mean, I've never said that and I've been hardcore about football since the mid '80s. I don't remember the Bears ever having an A+ receiving core.
Yeah, they
Um,
never do.
yeah, and Titans. interesting. Let's see how quickly that new offensive line can come together because it could be a big factor this year. What is freaking Will Levis? What is Levis? I don't know. He threw 4 touchdowns in his first game, no picks, and then went 4-4 the rest of the way as far as touchdowns and interceptions. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of the Titans. I feel a little better about the Bears, so I'm going Bears 28-16.
Yeah, Tennessee, the boring team from last year. Um, this is the typical game that they win. This would be typical Titans to win this game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they have no business winning it, in my opinion. They shouldn't win it. Chicago should definitely win it, but I could absolutely see them do this because this is what they do. They pull out these like 5 or 6 games where they shouldn't really win, but it's kind of closer, and they pull them off, and then they win a couple more from teams that are really bad that they play, and all of a sudden they're back to around a 500 team, which they always are.
Right, right.
But I still have to pick Chicago. I got it a little closer than you. I got it 17-13.
Okay, okay. All right. Very cool.
Okay. Next on board for me is Houston at Indianapolis. Pretty decent game. Um, One of the few road teams I'm going with. I love Houston. I love everything they did this offseason. I cannot wait to see this team play. I'm genuinely excited to watch Houston play some games this year. I think the sky's the limit, and I don't see it going real so bad where they're like a bad team at all. I can't see them being any worse than 7-9. 7-9, or no, I'm sorry, 8-9, 8-9, or 9-8. That's the floor for me because they had so many upgrades. Love everything they did. They are on the road, Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson is the real deal in my opinion, and Richardson versus Stroud could be a preview, 3-4 years from now of AFC Championship games. I'm that high on Richardson. I love him. He was so good last year when he played. Anyway, because of that, because the knees at home, I still am going to go Houston, but it's going to be very close. 24-20.
Okay, okay, good stuff. I'm with you on the Texans. I am very high on the Texans. They're kind of my AFC Detroit this year. Um,
Yep.
I'm I can't wait. The here's the everything you said I agree with all the additions, blah blah blah. But there is one wild card to that addition thing, and that is Diggs. Um, Diggs has now been a malcontent in the last 2 places he's been, the only 2 places he's been, and been a real problem. You know what I mean? Like it ended poorly both places, and I really like him as a player, but I don't. The last thing this team needs is some diva receiver stirring up crap as their
Well,
as
he's
the
got to he's got to be okay with not being the number one because he's not.
yeah. Well, did he look okay with that last year?
No,
You know what I mean? Like, when has he ever been okay with not being the number one? He
he might
bitched
even be the number three, to be honest.
3 behind. Who be? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, behind.
Nico Collins is the one, in my opinion, and
Mhm.
Tank Dell might be two.
That's closer to me. I'm with you. It could work out that way. Yeah, I'm with you. I really like Tank. So, but yeah, I'm with. Listen, you're right. What you said is what he has to do. But when has he ever showed any indication that he's going to do that? You know what I mean?
I
So.
think he'll be happy when he comes to Dallas.
That's awesome. And where he'll have to be number 2 again, by the way.
Yes, but he'll be playing with his brother.
True, true.
That's why I
Yes.
think he's going to come.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. But he could have whined his way to Dallas a long time ago if he really cared about it that much.
That's true, but I do think it's going to happen.
Yeah, that would be interesting, man. I I don't know what to like. I love this team. I just the Diggs thing is just an interesting thing to keep an eye on because
Yeah,
such,
I
such
agree. I agree.
such a nice up and coming situation, and hopefully it doesn't stir it up too bad. So where I'm going with this, same as you, one of the few, maybe the only road, no, one of the few road teams I picked, and they beat the Colts in Indy last year, so it shows they can win, beat them on the road. I'm taking Texans 28-21.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Anthony Richardson?
Love him. As big an injury risk as I've ever seen in the NFL.
Yep. If he can stay healthy, I think he could have a real good year.
I agree. Listen, I think this guy's a beast. You know, the little we got to see of him last year was so tantalizing.
Oh, I mean, he did not have a bad game when he was
No,
in there. He played great the entire time.
yeah, I mean, he was absolutely dynamic. So
We're yet to see him struggle in the NFL.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. He The problem is he showed almost no indication that he has any ability to miss a tackle. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
he gets them all full force.
he runs like Mike Allstott. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's wild. So listen, I am just crossing my fingers this dude plays a good chunk of games this year because I want to see what he is at full capacity. I'm with you 100%. This guy could be phenomenal. Let's just hope he can stay on his feet.
All right. All right. My next game is a fun one. I love the matchup. I think it's going to be the highest scoring game of the week. Miami at home hosting Jacksonville.
Oh, good one. Yeah, this was
Uh,
a tough one to pick too.
It was a tough one to pick. Um, Miami early in the year and the warm weather and all that stuff. They play really well. Tua when he's out there, you know, puts up ridiculous numbers. They put up ridiculous points. I think they're going to score a lot of points and give up a lot of points.
Yep.
And that, but they are at home. If it was the other way around, I might pick Jacksonville because I do think they're going to bounce back this year. But I have Miami winning this one 35-28.
Oh, you're not gonna believe this, man.
No.
Not exact, but unbelievably close. Um, I'm echoing everything you said. The Dolphins. We said this about the Bills, and I'm gonna say it even more about the Dolphins. They had one of the worst off seasons I've ever seen a team have. They
Yep.
lost something like 7 starters. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like that just blows me away. And not insignificant starters like Christian Wilkins and their starting right guard Hunt. So this is going to be fascinating. However, I think that offense is so good. They're at home again. If this had been in Jacksonville, I would have picked Jacksonville. But it's in Miami, so I'm picking Miami, and I'm picking them 35-27.
Oh my God. Wow. If anybody's listening and think we planned this, we really didn't.
Yeah.
We never ever go over our picks
No.
before we hit record here.
I think the only time we've ever talked on the phone that wasn't a leading to the podcast was when I called you about WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yep.
So we are not comparing notes pre show for sure.
Wow. All right.
Oh, that's priceless,
So
man.
one of the funnest games of the year to the worst or of not of the year of the week to one of the worst games of the week. Carolina at New Orleans.
I agree with you
There's a whole
100%.
lot of I don't give a shit in this game.
That's so funny because my one note I always write little notes beside the games. The only thing I wrote about this game is gross.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's an interest in to see what Bryce Young looks like this
Yeah,
year.
no, that's legit.
But
There's always something to find, but yes, and I'm with you there.
right, in their running game, the kid Brooks, is he playing or is he out?
I think he's out. I'll double check while we're talking,
So
but
it's Hubbard for a little while, but I like to see him too and Bryce. But I mean, it's just a game I don't. I mean, I can't get excited for, especially with some of these other matchups. Um,
absolutely.
so I got New Orleans winning a close one because they're at home, 16-13, in the most ho hum blah game.
Yeah. Oh wait, say the score one more time.
16-13 New Orleans.
Okay, we weren't as close this time, although I had one of the numbers is exactly the same. Um, and I just found a Brooks thing. Let me see if I can interpret it quickly enough that we're not having dead air. Oh, he's on the that
The
IR
pup.
that means you're out until week four or whatever, or through week four, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Is it like the pup or whatever the pup list?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, he will be a factor, but not until a little bit longer. Okay, so back to Chuba, and maybe Miles. Did Miles Sanders get cut, or is he still on the Panthers? Because that was a brutal signing for the Panthers, wasn't it?
Yeah. To be honest, I have not heard a peep out of what's going on with Miles Sanders. If he's anywhere, if he got cut, if he's still there. Either way, he's a non-factor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no doubt, no doubt. I remember I had a conversation with an Eagle fan who was just devastated when the Eagles let him walk. I said, buddy, I like Miles, but we're going to be fine. And
Yeah.
we had a different conversation this offseason when I ran into him. Oh, he's still on the Panthers. And
Oh,
the AP news article says Miles Sanders pushing for more playing time after losing starting job last season. Yeah, good luck with that. All right.
yes.
So, okay, I didn't give you my pick yet. So, I am going, and you're right. This is just an ugly game. Saints, I don't know, man. Just I don't like anything about them. But they are at home against a team who was the worst in football last year. So I'm going Saints 23-13.
Okay.
Yeah, and the highlight
Uh,
of this game you mentioned already is Bryce Young going to improve in year two.
yep. Okay. All right. A decently better game, but still not one I'm overly excited about. But Las Vegas at the Chargers,
Yes.
Raiders Chargers. Um, I'll let you go first if you want.
Okay. This this is just a tough one, man, because who knows what week one of the Harbaugh era is going to look like? You know what I mean? Who knows? I don't
It'll
have a.
be the shortest game of the year.
Yeah, yeah, right, because he's gonna. He theoretically, I mean, the over under at rush attempts for the Chargers is at 40, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and that's because that's what he does. That's what they're going to do,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, shoot,
and they got
uh,
no one to throw to.
they have no one to throw to. They have it's obscene. Their receiving core is just pathetic.
It's just Josh Palmer. That's it.
Yeah, and the rookie Lad McConkey,
Right.
who may or may not be a player. Incomplete information. Their first round draft pick last year stunk. So unless he makes leaps and bounds over his rookie season, that guy's all but useless. It's Quentin Johnson. So yeah, who knows what to make of this team? And my one surprise that I pulled out in our preseason picks was the having the Raiders be over 500. And if they're going to be over 500, they're going to have to beat a bad team on the road like the Chargers. I'm going Raiders 23-17.
Okay, our first difference.
Hey, we got one. All right.
23-17. Okay, well, I got the Chargers winning an ugly one.
I think that's one thing that we can both agree that this game will be.
Yeah, I got the Chargers winning a low scoring ugly one because they're going to eat up so much clock. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I got it 17-10.
Right on. Right on.
Chargers with the win. Harbaugh, regardless of the rushing philosophy or not, he's a good coach, and I
No
think
doubt.
he is still going to be good for that team. I'm not on board. They always disappoint, and I hate them for that. And I all last year was the hate campaign. I hate the Chargers. Um, Now I can just say I dislike them.
I love it.
I don't hate them. I dislike them. And by the end of the year, I might like them. It depends on what Harbaugh does, but I do believe in him enough to beat what I consider a mediocre to a below mediocre Raiders team. I'm not as high on the Raiders as you are. Um, so, ugly game, 17-10 Chargers.
Love it. And that makes very well could be the way it goes. So, yeah, cool. I don't have anything else on that one, I don't think.
Okay. I've got next Seattle at home hosting Denver. Uh,
Yes.
Another one that's not overly great. It's not terrible, but it's also not great.
Sure. I agree.
Um, well, to get out of the way, Seattle, I got winning this game 20-12. It might be literally four field goals from Denver. Got to see what Denver is. I got to see what what's his face. Why can't I think of the rookie?
Oh, Bo
Uh,
Nix.
yeah, got to see what he does, see what he is. I mean, it's just a whole lot of uncertainty there, and because of that, Seattle, while not spectacular, is solid as a rock. They are a solid team. They have been the last couple of years. They continue to be, I think. And you got a solid team at home playing a team where it's just there's so much uncertainty because you don't know how this kid's going to perform. I go Seattle 20-12.
Right on, right on. Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, so this game. The intrigue about this game is all about Bo Nix, to me for sure. He looked unbelievable in the preseason, which is can be fool's gold, but at least he didn't look bad. The one thing you don't want is them looking bad, and he certainly didn't do that. But yeah, I'm with you. The Seahawks are a better team, and they're at home. So and the Broncos have one of the widest ranges of outcome this year, in my opinion, of any
Yeah,
team in football.
yep. Because if he's a really great rookie, if he's C.J. Stroud or something, they're going to be pretty good.
Yep,
But if he's garbage, they're going to be really bad, really bad.
no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, so yeah, they could have. I wouldn't be surprised if they had 4 wins or if they had 9 wins.
Right. Well, I mean, I think a positive of that is Sean Payton. He
Yeah,
does. He definitely is a good quarterback coach.
no doubt.
I think he could coach him up a little bit too. So it could be more towards the good, the good side. But we'll have to see. But you have Seattle winning.
Yes, Seattle. What was my score? 29-20.
Okay. All right. Well, next is my game.
You take it first.
Dallas at Cleveland. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting match. This is a heck of a matchup, actually.
This
This
is a
is
good matchup. This is the best one we've done in the last few picks.
yeah. This better be my 4 o'clock game in my local viewing area.
I mean, no,
It's
it's
got
going
it.
to be it's the national game, by
It's
the
the
way.
national one. Yeah, no,
And
no,
do you
no.
know what? Do you know why? For the
Uh,
worst reason we can either one of us would want it to be.
why is that?
It's the national game because it's Tom Brady's first game calling.
Oh, gross.
It's Tom Brady's first game in the booth.
Oh, I can't. I hope he stinks.
I think he will think he's not very personable.
No, he's not. And they committed a boatload of money to this guy. I
Yeah,
mean, so it would be awesome if he was just awful and they had to trot him out there for 4 years or whatever they committed to him, and keep lowering him down from the A game to the B to the C to the D.
and then put him in on the pregame show.
Yeah, totally, man. Because for every Tony Romo who has turned out well, there's a Do you ever hear Joe Montana call a game?
No.
Dude, he called games when he retired for about 3 weeks, and it was awful. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see.
All right. Well, I love the fact CD's going to be there. CD's going to play. Um,
Big, they
Cleveland's
got that
deep.
contract done. Yes.
Yeah. Um, Cleveland's defense is no joke. We're gonna have Tyler Guyton, the rookie, on Miles Garrett.
Oosh.
Ugh. So, and of course we have an uncertain running game in Cleveland, but Cleveland doesn't overly impress me on their offensive side of the ball either. I don't think it's gonna be too high scoring of a game. This is just a home pick, just because Cleveland's at home and they are projected to make the playoffs by most people and be a pretty good team, and they're at home. I got a squeaker, 21-20 Browns.
Okay, right on, right on. Yeah, this was almost my upset pick, but I ended up just picking the boys, so it couldn't be my upset pick. I'm
Oh,
going Cowboys 23-21. Um, this was the hardest game to pick for me.
very
I
difficult.
Very difficult because I still, after how many years now in Cleveland, I still don't know what Deshaun Watson is.
Yeah, I mean, in the Dallas, again, we don't know preseason, but they are raving about Mike Zimmer's defense.
Yeah,
Um,
which does not surprise me. I mean, that guy's,
right.
he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
And you got Diggs back to play their number one, so they don't have to worry about Cooper. Diggs can definitely shut him down easily.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
the problem is the running game.
Stopping the running game?
Yeah,
Yes, I'm with you. That's been their bugaboo for a while now. Yeah, and
it's
also
weird.
let me
They have
throw
these
this at you.
great
What
games
do you think
against the
about
run.
this, Craig?
It's so weird. They have these great games against the run, and they get destroyed. But they ended up like 15th against the run last year. They were like right in the middle of the pack. But go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. So and great points about that, and I'm fascinated to see where that lands. I don't know Zimmer's history as far as rushing yards allowed with his defenses. I'd have to look at that. I don't know if he'll
Yeah,
just
that
him.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if him alone will improve that, or if it's just going to have to be playing better. I don't know. But here's a question for you because you're obviously inside this situation more than me. What do you think about the Cowboys' offensive running game this year? Because their line is so good that they could probably trot almost anybody back there and be mediocre.
It's not as good as it was. Let's not forget that.
No, 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 no doubt.
Um, Although everybody criticized the Tyler Guyton pick, apparently he's working out really well. They're really impressed with him because he is as big as a house. He's stronger. He's probably the strongest player on the team.
Well, anybody that criticizes Dallas offensive line picks hasn't been paying attention for the last 10 years.
You're right. Knock on wood. They've always been really good at getting them and making good picks with their line. I mean, right down the line for years now.
A
So
hundred
I'm
percent.
hoping it's the same. I mean, Tyler Smith was their pick just 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and he graded out as the best guard in the league last year, ahead of Zach Martin.
Which is crazy.
And Zach
Crazy.
Martin was three. They had two of the top three defense guards in the league last year.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Um, but they did lose their center, Biotish.
Yep.
But he was not. Let's be honest about that. He was not an over. He was not a highly graded center. He was okay,
Yeah, he wasn't chasing Kelsey.
right? And then the right tackle. I mean, we'll have to see what happens over there, but I'm not too concerned about that. So the line is good to really good. I wouldn't say great. If they kept Tyron Smith there, then I would say great, but he's gone
Absolutely.
obviously. Anyway, the running game, I just got a bad feeling, man. I was pretty high on Dowdle and wanted to really see what he can do. This is going to be a three-man committee. Zeke is going to be in for short yardage. Dalvin Cook and Dowdle are going to split first and second down.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yep.
But I don't like it.
I can't blame you. I mean, it's not awesome on paper, that's for sure. You got two guys that, if you imagine if you had Zeke and Dalvin Cook 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, that's a totally different story. But yeah, so we'll have to see. I just hope Dowdle kind of takes the bull by the horns and just win. Just is so much better and just takes the job. And then you could leave Zeke on 1 yard plays or goal line plays only, and play Dowdle the rest of the game.
I'm with you, man. No, that would be the ideal scenario for you guys for sure, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. I appreciate that because that's how it kind of looked to me on the outside, but I was curious how you were looking at it. That's cool.
All right. Well, rounding up here, another game that I'm not too keen on: Washington at Tampa Bay. Um, Tampa Bay finds a way. I don't know what happened last year, how they did what they did,
Yeah.
but I have it continuing. I have 26-16 Tampa Bay, mostly because I want to see Daniels. Everybody loves him. I want to see how he does.
Yep.
And it's kind of like Denver. It's a lot of uncertainty right now against another team that at least last year we didn't know, but last year was really solid, and they're pretty much back. Everybody's back. There should be decent again, and they're at home, so I'm going Tampa Bay.
Yeah, man. No, that makes perfect sense to me, and I'm on the same page. I'm taking the Bucks 27-21. I I am as mystified as you about last year. You know, they were it just blew my mind last year. I just still can't believe it happened, but it did.
Yeah,
So
in the preview, didn't we say they were going to be the worst team in the league?
we both know that was Arizona. Um, but we
Or
both
one of the worst teams.
yeah, one of the worst, and we both picked them to finish in the bottom. Because remember, I think I picked the Bucks to finish last in the division because I had Carolina being a surprise team. But you
Right.
were smart enough to have Carolina being last. I think you picked the Bucks right above them, but both of them really bad.
Yeah, I think we gave them like 5 or 6 wins.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And halfway through the season, it looked like we were right, but they just kept hanging in there, and the rest of the division was so bad, and they did, and then they took out the Eagles in the first round of all things. So, yeah, they are really an interesting team this year. I'm fascinated about Rashad White, by the way. Did you get him on any of your fantasy teams? What do you think
I
about
did
him?
not get him. He was ranked pretty well. Um, People seem to be high on him.
Do you play in
Not
the PPR
over.
leagues, Greg?
I do.
Okay, because that's where you want to be high on him to me, because I mean the dude
Well,
caught.
it's actually a half PPR.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. So that's yes, right on, right on. Um, yeah, he's going to be a lot more valuable in half and full PPR points than he will be in standard leagues. But he's an interesting running back. Now we were talked on our preview show about a little bit about running efficiency, yards past expected with who's the Bears running back that played for the Eagles last year? Why am I blanking? DeAndre Swift.
Swift.
Okay. Now, I looked it up after the show, and I wanted to bring this up. I forgot to do it during the Bears, but Rashad White's a good guy to bring it up for. DeAndre Swift and Rashad White were the only two starting running backs in the NFL that were in the bottom 15 of that stat,
Wow.
which I didn't know anything. I didn't see enough of Rashad last year to have any thoughts about that, and it surprised me with Swift because I thought he had a pretty decent year last year just on paper or just watching him. I mean, but those were the only two. Like they were there with guy like sandwiched around them were guys like AJ Dillon,
Oh, jeez.
like bad running backs. You know what I mean? So but Rashad White has that pass catching ability. So does Swift if they decide to use it again, where the Eagles decided not to last year. One of the many dumb things Brian Johnson did as an offensive coordinator. So anyway, that's my tangent about that. But that's a new stat that I'm keeping an eye on. I'm going to keep an eye on that stat because I want to see how important it is.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if I gave my score. My score for Tampa is 26-16, winning
Okay,
them
and
this
I'm
week.
picking Tampa 27-21.
All right. Okay, now the last two are both fantastic.
Yeah.
Possibly games of the week, other than maybe the first couple are just as good. But regardless, Rams at Detroit.
Mm, what a
Wow.
game! What a game!
Ah, this was impossible for me. I went back and forth about 5 times.
Right there with you.
This was so hard because I'm so high on Detroit, and if you watch our preview show or listen to our preview show, I have them going all the way, and all the way to the bowl. And you would think if that's the case and they're at home, I'd be picking them, but I landed on the Rams.
Oh, I love it.
I landed on the Rams 31-27 in a great game because I think other than San Francisco, Philly, Detroit, the next team right there, it's not a big three anymore, in my opinion, in the NFC. It's a big four. I think the Rams are right there with all three of those teams. In any, all four of those teams, and any one of those four could beat one of the other four at any time. And I got a feeling I'm going with the Rams on this one.
Man, I love it. I love it because listen, I thought I was even a little higher on the Rams than you in our preseason show, but I guess I was wrong. We're about the same. And having said that, I didn't have the balls to pick them on the road. I went Lions 30-26. Although I love your pick because I really like their and I had the Rams beating the Lions in the playoffs on the road.
Well, by the
So
way, I have 31-27. You have 30-26.
yeah, how about that, man? I love
Why
it.
not?
I love it. And what a game. I'm so excited for that game, man. I am pumped.
Yes, absolutely. That's going to be great. Yeah. So that's I just really like the Rams, and it could be the best. Probably will be their best win of the year. And I got to give some Detroit some love in some of their other games later on as the season goes on. Other games that are big games, I'm gonna be picking them because I kind of feel obligated to considering how far I have them going.
No doubt. No doubt. Absolutely. And I'm listen. This is just a fun game. I'm with everything you said about that top four in the NFC and the Rams being one of them. I agree 100%. I am huge on the Rams this year.
All right. Okay, Jets, Niners, back to the scene of the crime for Monday Night Football for the Jets. The NFL is a cruel mistress.
Yes.
Bastards, right?
They're seriously. They're like they might as well just run over to Rogers' house and be like, nah, 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 nah.
Yeah, so a total dick move. Um, and to put them on the road in San Francisco.
No
Um,
doubt.
What do you I'm going to say something? I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers red flags. Go.
Red flags. You mean like what is it? The crowd thing?
Things of concern for the Niners. I am
Oh, red flag. Oh,
slow.
dude, I'm a moron. Okay, I'm sorry. I was taking it literally. I'm 100% with you now. Okay. So, all right. Well, two red flags went away since we did the preview show. Ayuk signed and Trent Williams signed.
But is Trent Williams playing? I heard he might not because he's not ready.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. I'm not sure. I'm gonna find it while we're talking, but
I know Ayuk's playing.
yeah, Ayuk's definitely playing. Let's see here. This might take a second. Agree to hold. Da, 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 da. Okay,
Right.
49 minutes ago. It's all talking about his contract. Oh, here we go. This looks like it's going to give us
Just
actual.
availability. I heard that there's a chance he might not play because he signed so late.
Yeah, none of the articles are saying. So maybe, yeah, you might be absolutely correct, man. I'm not sure, and it would make
Okay.
some kind of sense because he only signed, what, a couple days before the game here. So, um, yeah, that's obviously huge because that guy is one of the best in football, and we saw what happened to them last year when he was out.
Right. Well, if I can give a caveat, I want a Williams caveat for this game if I could.
Oh yeah, no, I will grant you the Williams caveat.
All right. Um, if Williams plays, I'm going to go Niners, and I'm going to go. I'm doing this on the fly here because I didn't have it. Because I did my pick thinking Williams was not going to play. But
Right
if
on.
Williams plays, I'll go Niners, and I'll go 27-20. And if Williams doesn't play, I'm going Jets.
Love it.
And I'm going Jets to really give them a problem on defense. 23-14. Hold them to 14 points.
Okay, I just found something, by the way. You keep the caveat because this does. I'm not sure this is 100% here, but according to what's the source here? Oh, PFF, which is a generally a pretty good source, right?
Yes.
Um, Future Hall of Famer has reportedly ended his contract dispute and will suit up just in time for 49ers Week 1 game.
Okay. Well, if
But
that's
keep
the
the
case,
caveat in case that's off, because
right,
I'm all good with that.
right. I can definitely see the Jets coming out of the gate on fire and winning this game regardless, even with Williams. But I will pick Niners 27-20. And they are at home. But if Williams doesn't play, definitely Jets for me.
Right on, right on. I'm with you there. I'm picking the Niners. I mean, home game again. These the few games that were hard to pick if they were on a neutral site. I went with the home teams. You know what I mean? Other
Right.
than Dallas in Cleveland, but this one was definitely a home team pick for me. I just can't wait to see the Jets with an actually healthy Aaron Rodgers this year. I'm looking for. I hope it happens. Like more than
Yeah.
what was it, 8 snaps last year we got?
That roster is absolutely loaded.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
Their
ridiculous.
their defense is top five. They've got great corners, great linebackers, good defensive line. Not a great defensive line for sacks. I will say that they don't get a ton of pressure,
Well,
but
especially if they don't get Hassan Reddick signed.
right, they need to get a Son Reddick signed. But even without him, I think they're still a top. They're a top tier defense. And then they add Mike Williams. They got Garrett Wilson. They've got Rodgers, and possibly the only person that might be as good as Christian McCaffrey this year and Brees Hall.
I agree 100%. I'm massively high on Brees Hall this year.
Yeah.
Um,
So and they upgrade the offensive line. They got my aforementioned Tyron Smith from Dallas.
Right, right. Yeah, they a couple. They got what was it, Moses from Baltimore, I
Yeah,
believe.
they got a couple. They upgraded the offensive line. I mean, what else? They've got everything. There's nothing there that they need. They don't need anything anymore at all.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
ready to rumble, man.
ready to go.
They're ready to rumble. I can't wait to see it. This is a heck of an opening week. I wish this was in New York, just because it would have been I would have it would have felt a little more even to me, you know. But I'm
Right.
going Niners. Did I give you the score? I'm going 24-20.
Okay. Yeah, I had 27-20, about the same. Yep.
Right on, right on.
Um, yeah. So the games to highlight, I think, in my opinion, the ones that matter the most to me, the best games: Baltimore, KC, Green Bay, Philly, Jacksonville, Miami,
Yep,
Dallas, Cleveland,
yep.
and then the Monday night, Sunday night, and Monday night, Rams, Detroit, Jets, Niners. That's a good week. That's 2, 4, that's 6 games that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, and I'll throw the Texans Colts in there too, personally.
Yeah, you know what? That's right. You know what? Stroud against Richardson. I'm on board with that too.
Yeah, right
Yep.
on, right on. That's a heck of a week, man. 7 games that you're like, oh, I really like to see that.
Yeah, and not because of Tennessee, but because of Chicago. I'm kind of interested in that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff with rookie quarterbacks. You know, the Commanders Bucks is a garbage game to me, but I would watch it anyway just to see what Jalen Daniels is all about.
Yeah,
Uh, I also want to see if he's going to get hung out to dry like Kyler Murray did and just get destroyed all over the place with his offensive coordinator. I can't wait to see what happens there. I'm really, I'm really interested to see how that works out.
and unfortunately, one of these kids is probably going to have a major injury and be out for a while.
Well, with I'm sure it's probably going to. The odds are pretty good. Hopefully, we got that out of the way though with JJ McCarthy, and the rest of them can be okay
Right.
with any luck.
Oh. Yep. 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 Okay. Well, that's it. We
Oh,
did it.
hey, you know what we need to do yet, Craig? Because we forgot on our preview show is do our yearly awards.
Oh shoot. Yes. Oh boy. I don't know if I can find. I gotta find those. If you got yours handy, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll give mine while you look for yours. No problem. And if you can't find them, you can throw yours out next week. You know what I mean? No big deal. Um. So okay, we were gonna do Coach MVP and Rookie of the Year, correct?
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with Coach of the Year.
Oh, I found them. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, good, good. Okay, so I'll do Coach of the Year, and then you give me your Coach of the Year. This is I don't. I'm curious to see what you think of this. After last year, I was so impressed, and I am bullish on this team this year. Uh, I'm going to Miko Ryans, Coach of the Year.
Okay. Nice. I am going Mike McDonald for Seattle.
Ooh, that's a really interesting one, man.
Yep.
Really interesting. That's cool.
I like that hiring quite a bit.
I do too.
So that's my guy. All right.
I love it. I love it. All right, you want to do your
Now,
MVP or Rookie of the Year first, then?
rookie of the year, I'm gonna go. I'm buying in Caleb Williams.
Haha. Right there with you, my man. I thought we might be on the same page here because I knew we were both higher on Caleb than Daniels coming out. So, I really like him a lot. They've given him every weapon they could. This is as good as a Bears offense has looked in my lifetime, I think. So I just can't wait to see how it turns out, and I'm with you 100%.
All right. My MVP, I went total chalk, the most boring pick you could think. I went Mahomes.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'll tell you what. Let's both take like we do with the upset thing. Let's both on the fly right now come up with a upset MVP because I'm with you. I can't pick against Mahomes. You know, I just can't. The guy's too
Yeah.
good, and they gave him way more weapons this year. So I can. It's not the year not to pick him. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Okay, then if we're not going to pick Mahomes, then I'm going to go Stroud.
Oh God, that's so funny because that's exactly what I was gonna do. Oh my God, that's great. That is great. Yeah, I'm going Stroud too.
All right.
That's awesome.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, hey, great minds, man. You know.
Yeah, I love your Ryan's pick too.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I thought we both got a little. Neither of us went chalk on Coach of the Year. That's for sure.
No, no, no. I really like the fact that I don't know. There's just things I read on McDonald, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking them. But
I love it, man. That's a good one. I didn't see that one coming, but I liked it when it came out of your mouth there. That was good.
yeah. Okay, we did it. We are done with our preview for week one. We have arrived, my friend. It is here. Two
Ah,
sleeps from now.
I'm so excited. I am pumped. I can't wait. It's football time is upon us, and yeah, and I'm psyched to be back doing the pod, man. This is so much fun. It gets me fired up every week, even more than I already am.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Talking about it, I could talk about it forever. But
Yeah, same.
we did talk about this a little bit. We're gonna try to keep them a little bit more manageable this year in the pods, and try to keep them about an hour. There were times we went an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world. Those are really long marathons to expect people to listen to.
Yeah,
So about an hour I think a good time. Well, if we're in a great discussion or something and we go over, no big deal.
sure.
But if we could keep it around an hour, that would probably be ideal. And that's about right where we are right now. We're at 1 hour, 1 minute. This is perfect.
I love it, man. Look at us. We're like
Yeah.
it's like we're pros. It's a beautiful thing. No, I love it, man. I'm with you 100%. And yeah, we can save those marathons for an off-season draft thing or whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
That every now and then, but the weekly stuff, yeah, I love it. I'm with you 100%.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so bring them out still on the vacation.
Yes, we're hopefully coming back soon. Joel has just got like like this is why we're on hiatus. Like last Saturday, this is what Joel deals with. Last Saturday, they had a drag brunch. Okay, like female or like cross. They call themselves cross dressers. Still, it's not politically incorrect. Do a drag show from noon to 2 on Saturday.
Okay.
Then at 2 o'clock, started a 4 hour line dancing instruction seminar in the ballroom. Then that got shuffled out to what's called the Social House for the open dance from 7 to 11, while a band called AM Radio came in and did a Jimmy Buffett tribute show. Then, while that was going on, there was a comedy show in the Melody Room right next door to that, and a couple other things happening. So, and they're serving dinner over here, and he's in charge of all of it. So, all that to say, I'm just waiting for the word when things have calmed down enough to start up again. I'm hoping it's going to be real soon. But we still have 86 episodes to check out. I love it to death. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and I love it in the comedy world as much as I love this in the football world. So yeah, check it out if you want to. It's on Soul Joel TV on YouTube. Called Bring 'Em Out. Lots of cool episodes to check out, and hopefully we'll be back real soon.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, definitely. Can't recommend that enough. If you want a good laugh, definitely check out any one of those episodes.
Appreciate it, my man, very much.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. We are done. I will be glued to the TV starting Thursday and Friday and Sunday. It's
Yes,
going to be fun.
yes, can't wait, my man. Let's go.
Okay, that's going to do it. And until next time, I will see you later.